This is Dharma Drops with your host, Rebecca Warfield. This podcast is a little bit about yoga, a little bit about life, and a little bit about whatever. And just as a warning, this podcast is unscripted, so that means I might regret a few things that I say. But hey, maybe I'll say some pretty awesome stuff too. Remember, these are musings, not truths. Buckle up, giddy up, because here we go. No lie. I think I've said hello in I don't know, 3 or 4 different ways to start this episode, and I've stopped it and started it over again because, it's really weird just saying hello to you when I'm actually sitting here by myself, so I don't even know how to greet you. So here's the best way I can think of. What the fuck is up? This is Dharma Drops Podcast, and I'm your host, Rebecca Warfield. This is the Dharma mini drop episode for May 27th, 2020. I cannot believe that we are almost at the end of May. It's kind of freaking me out because we're moving. So we're still staying in Wilmington, North Carolina. We've actually been in the process of building a house for the last few months, and it was expected to be finished in mid-August, but I guess things really move quickly because of the coronavirus pandemic, and we're moving in about 4 weeks. So I'm not packed. I have shit everywhere. I have a million things to do and I'm kind of in a panic, but whatever. I'm here with you now and I'm really happy to be here with you. So just a heads up, as I get closer to moving, I don't even know what I'm going to do for the mini episodes. I actually already have a lot of the full length episodes that come out every other Friday because for those of you who are new to listening to Dharma Drops podcast, on Wednesdays I put out a mini episode that, it's supposed to be 15 to 20 minutes, but sometimes I can't shut up, so it's a little longer. But Wednesdays are just with me, and then every other Friday, there is a full-length episode that's usually an hour, sometimes as long as an hour and a half or so, with a guest. And I have all the guest episodes actually probably for the next 2 months already recorded. So that's no problemo, but I do the mini drops sort of in the moment. I usually record them on Tuesdays. So that way the content is really fresh and we can kind of be in the moment together. But in 2 weeks, my life's going to be crazy. So I'm going to do the best I can with getting you some mini drops, but I'm actually thinking about doing a few throwback episodes. I don't really know what I'm going to do yet, but first of all, do know you will always have your episodes coming out on time. I've never missed a beat with Dharma Drops, and I hope to never miss a beat moving forward. But I'm thinking about doing some throwback episodes or something of the sort. So in any case, that's just my disclaimer that if things get weird in the mid to late June timeframe, it's because I am moving. And moving is the pits. I mean, once you get moved in, unpack, and you're in your new house and it's all cool, that's nice. But the whole process of packing all your old shit and then unpacking it and dealing with it, it's not fun. I don't feel like doing it, but I'm gonna do it. I am really excited though, because in this new house, I will have this space to provide much more content for you. So there will be a space in the house for me to film more classes for the Dharma Drops virtual studio, in particular, the on-demand portion of the studio. And once I get moved in and settled, that is when I will start recording Yoga with Boobs, which I've talked about a little bit. It'll be a series of classes and instructional videos for ladies to practice who might have big boobs, or maybe even sore boobs or tender boobs if they're pregnant or breastfeeding. So once I'm moved in, I'll be working on that. I'll be able to provide a little more content. I'll have a podcasting closet, which doesn't sound like a luxury, but actually it is, because a closet's a great place to record a podcast. And right now I've been living in a house that was built in the 50s and the closets are so small, I can barely fit anything in it, including myself. So I'll have a podcasting closet. So hopefully the sound quality will go up, and it's going to be really great for all of us in the Dharma Drops community, because we'll have more Dharma Drop stuff happening. So that is that. But in other news, let's go through some announcements and then we're going to shoot the shit for a little bit together today. So I hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend for my American listeners. We just got out of a long 3-day weekend, so I hope you had a great day. There's a great article on the Dharma Drops blog about Memorial Day because one of Dharma Drops' own in-house writers, Tanya Nagel, not only is she a writer and an awesome human being, she is also a veteran of the United States military. She spent a number of years in the U.S. Marine Corps, so it's really special to have her write an article and to have the perspective coming from her about how we can honor our service members, veterans, and those who have sacrificed their lives for the United States of America. So be sure to check that out on dharmadropspodcast.com. And as always, there's tons of articles. Right now, we're averaging about 4 a week or so on the blog. So you can check those out. And there'll be new ones coming soon this week too. But I want to give a shout out to Ireland. I know we were just talking about the United States of America, but let me just tell you, when I was looking at the analytics for Dharma Drops, I don't know what's happening in Ireland, but y'all are bringing it in terms of listening to Dharma Drops and downloading. And it's all across the country. It's not coming from one place. So to my Irish yogis, what is up? Thank you for listening. And in terms of things happening in the shop, so if you listened to the mini episode last week, I let you know there were some changes with the inventory and how much inventory I can hold. Another thing that will be really cool about moving the Dharma Drops headquarters into my new home is that I'll have more space for inventory. So some of that will change a little bit, but a number of my vendors have changed some of their policies due to the pandemic, and I'm not able to carry quite as much inventory, and it's not easy or as easy for me to ship things at really an affordable price. So some of that has changed, but other things have come in the shop which are really awesome, like the new smudge sticks. So I know you're like, oh, a smudge stick, that doesn't sound awesome. Let me tell you what, these smudge sticks are beautiful. They're handmade here in the Carolinas, and they are some of the most beautiful smudge sticks I've ever seen. They're made with dozens of different types of flowers and herbs and slices of dried citrus. They're so beautiful. They're already for sale in the shop at dharmadropspodcast.com. I will not actually have them in my inventory to send out until later this week, potentially early next week, but I would not wait to get them if you are interested, because a number of them are already sold out, including the most popular right now, Celebration is sold out, and Illuminate is almost sold out. I actually think there's only one left in the inventory. So if you are interested in them, if you've been eyeballing them on Instagram, or if you've been just checking them out on the site, I wouldn't recommend waiting too long because they are selling really quickly. And I will say the one that I actually liked the least, it's called Home, not because it doesn't smell good, it just looked a little boring. The woman who makes them said that is the #1 bestseller in her shop. So just a little heads up, if you look at the Home one, it just looks like some green stuff and a slice of orange, but it also has some hidden cinnamon in there. So it's a nice like citrusy, cinnamony smell that you can have in your house with this smudge stick. Also, if you look at each smudge stick in this shop, it has the energetic intentions and qualities listed on there. So of course you can pick which one you think is the prettiest, but this is also about like setting our intentions and cleansing our space for what we need in life right now. So it has some of the energetic qualities and intentions listed for each smudge stick. So be sure to check them out at dharmadropspodcast.com. Otherwise, that's actually it in terms of the announcements. Not a whole lot has changed the last week or so. And I will say probably until I move and get settled in, I don't anticipate any tremendous changes because Dharma Drops is a one-woman show. And while I'm in the process of packing and moving, I don't need anything else to do. Let's be real. Don't need one more thing to deal with right now. So hang tight. New stuff will be on the way once I get moved and settled in. Oh, one other thing before I forget. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I almost forgot. So I would like to do a mini episode in the near future that features other podcasts. So on Instagram, I actually just posted in my stories about a new, I don't even know what to call it. It's not a contest. It's not that. It's more just like an opportunity for you to share with the world some of your favorite podcasts. So Dharma Drops is accepting nominations for other kick-ass podcasts to be highlighted on an upcoming episode of Dharma Drops. So all you have to do to nominate your favorite podcast, other than Dharma Drops, of course, is create a post or story on Instagram that nominates your favorite show. So you can just say something really simple like, I don't know, for example, I nominate my favorite murder to be featured on Dharma Drops podcast highlight episode because it kicks ass. And then just tag me at Dharma Drops podcast. Don't forget to tag your nominated show and use the hashtag Dharma Drops podcast. And then all you have to do is keep kicking ass. So that's it. So just share a post that explains why you want them to be highlighted on the show, tag Dharma Drops Podcast and the nominated show, and use the hashtag Dharma Drops Podcast. And once we get some nominations in and I'm settled in for my move, I'm going to put together an episode that shares these nominated podcasts. So that is one big bit of news that you can share with others too. So that way we can keep uplifting each other and other podcasts. So that is that. Now, let's get into the actual content of today's mini drop episode. And as usual, I don't really have a lot planned. And that was sort of the inspiration for today's episode, which is really the art of doing nothing. Which sounds a little bit counterintuitive, or like it's the counterbalance to a lot of the conversations we've been having on Dharma Drops really since the beginning of the pandemic. But today, when I was preparing to record, I'm just so goddamn tired today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, it's cloudy here, it's raining. In full disclosure, I have cramps from hell. I just don't feel like doing shit. And so, what I really want to do and what I'm going to do today is nothing. That's what I'm going to do. Of course, I'm doing the things that I have to do. We have to live up to our responsibilities. But other than that, I'm going to do nothing. And we've talked a lot on Dharma Drops the last few months since the pandemic started about, this is a great time for creativity and to make opportunity, which is true, but often with that comes a lot of energy. And I can only speak for myself, but when I'm in these moments of really creating something new and creating, it could be business stuff, art, whatever it is. If I'm just in this mode of creativity, it's tremendous frenetic energy for me. And maybe other people are a little bit better at balancing that energy. But when I am in that zone, it's like a little chaotic inside sometimes because the ideas are flowing and the inspiration's happening. And then that requires a lot of output and a lot of work. And in the business that I'm in, a lot of connecting with other people and communication. And then one day, I'm just so fucking worn out. I don't have much left to give. And honestly, I think that's where I am now. And I sense just sort of talking to other people and seeing how some of my yoga students have been responding on social media and even before class when we're chatting, I think we're all feeling a little worn out, and that's okay. And I don't want to say there's pressure, but there has been all this conversation to keep doing things. And it's really okay to do nothing. And in fact, the yoga the yoga teachings, they talk about this all the time, right? So in the Yoga Sutras, we refer to this sutra all the time, Sthira Sukham Asanam. The connection to the earth is both steady and joyous. And so there is in that this sense that there is effort and ease, right? Sthira and Sukham. Sthira is effort and Sukham is ease. And I love the word Sukham. It really means like sweetness, right? It's the sweetness of life. It's pleasurable, like sucralose, Sukham, right? It's sweet, like sugar. And so when we take the time to really do nothing, we're honoring this effort and ease in our lives. Now, some of us maybe have a little more easefulness in our lives than others, for sure. So there is a time to work really hard. But I think that for a lot of us right now, there has been tremendous effort just to muscle through this experience of the pandemic and keep going. And so when we feel that time for sukham, for sweetness, for ease, do it. There's nothing wrong with taking some time to rest. And now there's a lot of different ways we can do this, and some ways will work better for you than others. If we're talking about the yoga practice, this is a really good time when we're feeling this need to rest. Restorative yoga is a great opportunity for that because the yoga practice, at least for me, very often, I prefer a very vigorous practice. If I'm not sweating, I feel like I'm not doing yoga, and it's really hard for me to pull back and do restorative yoga. So this is a really great time to start embracing your restorative yoga practices, to move maybe into a more subtle meditation practice or even some pranayama practice. And I will say, I know this sounds stupid. I'm a yoga teacher. I run a yoga business. I host a yoga podcast. But I don't even know what's happened. Somehow I kind of forgot my pranayama practice. I mean, I'm always focusing on breath and the asana practice. But today I did a class online with Amy Apoliti, and she taught Kapalabhati and Nadishadana, so alternate nostril breathing. Kapalabhati was fine. It might be a little intense for what I'm feeling right now. But Nadishadana was like just what I needed. It was perfect. And I had this moment in my practice. I was like, why the fuck haven't you been doing this for like the last 3 months? Like you kind of forgot about pranayama, but it's because I've been so damn focused on working my handstand, on advancing my back extension practice that I forgot just to sit down and breathe a little. So now's a really good time if you're feeling a little worn out. Don't forget pranayama. Pranayama is a really great way to practice yoga and to take out the intensity. Sure, some types of I don't know where that came from. Some types of pranayama are actually really intense. Kapalabhati today was like way over the top for me. But, sit down, do a little alternate nostril breathing. Find a little bit of breath with equal ratio of inhale, exhale. Samavriti pranayama was what that's called. So pranayama might be really helpful. Restorative yoga might be helpful. And like I've mentioned before during the pandemic and the developing your home practice episodes, these things don't have to take all day for you. You don't have to necessarily have a, hour and a half restorative yoga practice or a 30-minute pranayama practice. If you do, more power to you. Teach me your ways, but you don't have to. Just give yourself a few moments to take the rest that you need. But outside of the yoga practice, the asana practice or pranayama practice, sometimes what we really need is to do nothing. And for me, sometimes that even means I don't practice asana at all. The last few days, I have not had it within me to really be on my mat that much. And that's okay. There are other ways that we can nurture ourselves that help us feel nourished, that help us rest. So I've been doing other things that really do feed my soul and help me feel restful. I've been making a lot of really healthy food. On Saturday, I took 2 naps and then I slept for 8 hours and it was kick-ass. I've been taking some walks with little Hanky because he's the cutest thing in the whole wide world. I've also been enjoying shitty television. Look, I don't care what you say. The Real Housewives franchise, it's the best TV in the world. I know many of you out there will disagree with me, but it's good. It lets me veg out. It's other people's drama. It's not my drama. And I feel rested after I watched it because usually after the first episode, I fall asleep into the second one anyway. So I feel better just checking out. So my point of all this is it is okay to take your practice down a notch. It is okay to not practice. The reality is when we really get immersed in yoga, everything we do probably has some sort of yogic element in it, right? It's a lifestyle. It's the way we live our lives. So it's not like we're never practicing if we take a day off. We're practicing through the ways that we eat. We're practicing through the ways that we care for ourselves. So it is okay to do nothing. It is okay to scale back from your workload as much as possible without, letting go of your responsibilities and taking a little longer lunch break if possible. It is okay to recognize that you are doing the best that you can. And sometimes the best that you can be doing is maybe doing nothing at all, and that is okay. So I know sometimes on the mini drop episode, I have a little more tangible information for you. Sometimes there's book recommendations or things you can do in your yoga practice. Today isn't really about tangible information. This is really a reminder that our lives, for us to really feel balanced, for us to find that place of stasis or what the yogis call bliss or samadhi, whatever you want to call it. For me, I just call it sanity. We do have to have a balance of effort and ease. And like I said, for most of us right now, the effort has been strong. Even if you feel like you haven't been doing that much, the effort that it has required to just make it through this experience has been a lot. So do what you need to do. Take good care of yourself. If you have the opportunity to chill out. If you have the opportunity to pull back on your yoga practice, do a little more restorative yoga, or just don't work as hard in your yoga practice. That's what I did this morning. I just couldn't. I got on my yoga mat and I had the intention, I was like, work a little harder, I'll have more energy. Nah, That's not what I needed. So I just scaled back. I just did a little bit less and it felt pretty good. So scale back where you can, rest where you can, and be okay with doing nothing sometimes. There will be a time for effort again, and my guess is it'll be relatively soon, right? But there is a time for us to rest. There is a time for us to relax. And I hope that you can carve that space out for yourself today or sometime in the near future. So, in the spirit of the Dharma mini drop, I don't want to take a ton of your time and also to honor my own needs of doing nothing, because I will be very honest with you, getting my shit together today to record this episode, it was a struggle. It just was. I'm tired. I have worked really hard since the beginning of the pandemic to continue providing meaningful content, and I hope this was meaningful for you too. But it's also my time to do a little bit of nothing because I'm tired. I got some matzo ball soup on the stove. I just want to eat my matzo balls and take a nap, and I hope you do the same. So I will see you soon on the next episode of Dharma Drops podcast, and in the meantime, I hope you find a little space to do nothing. I'll talk to you next time, friends. Bye.